Okay, welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron, and I'm joined here by John McMahon from the Backdoor GAA Podcast. And we're here to discuss the Cavan and Dublin game this weekend. Obviously, John, you're a proud Cavan man, as I can see, just from talking to you off camera there. So I suppose, what's things been like in Cavan the past week? Have the celebrations calmed down a bit, or is everything still? I'd imagine you're all still over the moon, anyways.
Thanks for having me on, Aaron. I'm delighted to contribute to your show. Yeah, look, it's been absolutely fantastic, Aaron. It's been the stuff of dreams. I was in town there a few minutes ago, and people are still going on about it and can't really believe it and get over it. And the fact we're in an All-Ireland semi-final this weekend, it's just uncharted territory, and it's just absolutely brilliant. And look, I know maybe the players probably did celebrate for maybe the 2 or the 3 days, but they would have loved to got the week out of it. But obviously, with no pubs being open, but it's fantastic. It just gives the county such a lift, and just a great feel-good factor. Like, the Cavan jerseys are on, the Cavan jackets, the flags. It's a football mad county, Aaron, and we've been absolutely crying out for success the last couple of years, and we finally got it after 23 years. I know we've won under 21 titles, I know we've won minor titles, but just we've been starved at senior level, and finally we've got over the line.
And I suppose, what was it like when that final whistle blew? I mean, because it as you just said there, it's strange times and all that. So I'd imagine, normally in these kind of circumstances, you'd be around family, friends, you'd be at the game, you'd be in the pub. So I suppose, what was it like for yourself? I suppose watching it from home, and then I'd imagine there was still crazy celebrations anyway, because I mean, it's the first time in 23 years that your county has won an Ulster title. I mean, I'd imagine it almost felt like an All-Ireland in many ways, I'd say.
It really did, Aaron. It really did. I had the pleasure of just watching with my brother there, and look, we've been following Cavan football for all our lives, really. So just even just have just be at home and just have a few beers, and obviously the celebrations in Cavan Town after. Jesus, we must have been about the town for about 3 hours, just queuing up to see the Cavan team down by Breffni Park and just get a chance to meet them. And it was just. I know, okay, pubs and pubs, and you can go to your nightclubs and bits and pieces, but just even to have that moment with my brother, because we've been following obviously things for so long, and just we seen it up close and personal. We could see the reaction, we can see the delight, and in everyone's face when it all transpired, and just the best feeling in the world, Aaron. Really, who would have thought we would have got over the line? Jeez, I definitely wouldn't have been saying it in January or February with the form we were showing early stages in the league and bits and pieces. But yeah, no, just a special feeling. And God, it's only until you actually see the amount of Cavan people that made it just history was made, and so many people were just overjoyed, and probably to this day and this minute now, Aaron, people are still caught up about it, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think rightly so. I even seen some of the footage. I remember back in 1997 when Martin McHugh was doing his interview straight after the game, and there was the pitch was literally flooded with fans all over the place. The poor man nearly got eaten alive. So I can imagine, I'd say hopefully when things do calm down, definitely before the start of next year anyway, hopefully Cavan can have some sort of a celebration or some sort of a proper homecoming in that kind of regards. But look, listen, I know they'll certainly be focused on the Dublin game. The players, they certainly won't be thinking too much of the past, especially with Mickey Graham. But in your opinion, what do you think was the kind of key factor for Cavan to get over the line? Because as you alluded to it there, they were relegated to Division 3, and I think even Sean Kavanagh alluded to on the Sunday game. He probably had them as 6th or 7th, and teams in Ulster probably would have had them behind the traditional top 4 maybe. But what do you think yourself?
Well, look, I think Sean Cavan has a lot to answer for the last while now, so I just wouldn't be I wouldn't be listening to that man. And I tweeted not so long ago, he was a very good player, but just not a great pundit. But no, I keep saying it, Aaron. I keep saying it. That Cavan team is just we're not a world beater. We're not a world beating team. We're just a very good team of hard workers, lads that want to play for Cavan, and just a great grit and determination to play for Cavan. And I think we've remarked, fair enough, I don't want to call players out, but you Conor Moyna and Darren McVeety and some of them boys missing, but so much of our play in the last couple of years was just dictated around them guys. So I just think we've no kind of Tomas Gallagher and the boys are outrageous, but we've no maybe your Shani Johnsons or Darren McVetie's to kind of control the play. Everyone's just fighting for the cause, wants to play for Cavan, and I can guarantee you that 1 to 30 lads is going to play Dublin this Saturday in Croke they are mad to play football for Cavan, because we've had such a turnover of players in the last couple of years. You're probably talking 30, 40 players walking in and out. Honestly, like it's been outrageous up here. So just to have that crop that want to actually throw on the blue and white and just will fight tooth and nail to be a part of it. It's just such a good feeling and so good to watch, because the Tomas Galligans, the Ray Galligans of this world, and Kieran the Holla Brady, Park Faulkner, they have fought tooth and nail the last couple of years, and they're reaping the rewards, and rightly so, Aaron, because they've fought so hard over the years and been so maybe let down by performances and not nearly getting there. And last Sunday, they deserved it so much.
Oh no, 110%, yeah. Like, and especially the way they done it as well, like beating Monaghan, coming back from behind against Down, even that tough test against Antrim in some ways. Like they won it all in, I'd say the hardest way possible. And I think they showed a tremendous amount of fight as well. And I suppose, like, what are your thoughts now going into this Dublin game? Because obviously, I think everyone really has Dublin as overwhelming favourites, especially after that Meath game. But like, what do you reckon yourself?
I think, look, this Dublin team, they are just unbelievable, and like we really do have to, I suppose, bow down, because look, you're talking 5 All-Irelands in a row, some of the best players we've ever seen. But I think the great thing is, it is the fear of the unknown, because look, when you put it into perspective, a lot of these Dublin guys haven't probably seen Cavan the last couple of years, don't know what we're like. Fair enough, they might have took note of the semi-final and the final of the Ulster, but they don't really know what we're probably bringing to the table here. I've seen Bernard Brogan tweeting not so long ago, is it the fear of the unknown? Is it 50-50 this Saturday? And for Bernard Brogan to come out and say that definitely leads to an interest and kind of point. I know Jack McCaffrey here is potentially back training with the Dublin team as well. So, I think we will give them a good rattle. And I think for the year we've had it, the lads will be absolutely chomping at the bit to get up to Croke Park, give them as much as they can for as long as they can. And I just really hope we give a good account of ourselves, because I know so many people said about Meath coming up to Dublin last week. I know I didn't get steamrolled, whatever, but I genuinely feel there is this grit and determination by this Cavan team to go up there and just hopefully God to do a job. If we could try and get over the line against us, it'd be absolutely fantastic. But it's a huge ask. Brian Fenton v Tomas Galligan, that'll be an intriguing battle, and it'll just be such a good test to see where we are at, and is the hype, can we deliver on the hype, and can we maybe cause one of the biggest upsets of, I don't know, modern history in GAA circles, Aaron?
Yeah, I think if it was to happen, I think it would probably be the biggest upset in Gaelic football I can remember. Maybe you go back to when that great Kerry team were beaten by Down. Maybe that's the only closest one that can compare. But yeah, it would be a massive shock. And I think with Meath, like, I think they threw the towel in a little bit against the Dubs in some way, like halfway through the game. I think they're a lot better than what they performed on that day. And I could see Cavan like fighting tooth and nail. Like, they're definitely not going to give in this game. Like what kind of players do you think in that Cavan team can hurt the Dublin team, or what kind of areas do you think that maybe Dublin can be exploited? I know it's easier said than done, because you're talking about one of the greatest teams of all time, but what players for you anyway in this Cavan team could cause the Dubs the biggest problems, I suppose?
Well, you're probably looking at the foreign players at the minute. You're looking at maybe Kieran Brady, Tomas Galligan. I think Pork Faulkner, if we just use them correctly, can get at the Dubs and maybe run at them. Conor Madden's on fire. Will he start the next day? Will he come on as the impact sub? That'll be interesting. Big Roe McKernan. We do honestly have plenty of talent that can get at the Dublin team. And like, Dublin have been quite faulty at full back. So when we've big full forwards, we've men that can actually cause problems in around there. So I don't know if you can maybe deploy Conor Madden in around the square, get Roe McKernan pumping balls into him. That's where Dublin do struggle at times. So you could be looking at that. And we just need to push up so much in the kickouts. And I genuinely feel like Kieran Brady, he is absolutely flying. How his name hasn't been nominated for an All-Star, I don't know. The rest of them has. Kieran Brady has led the charge to so many teams we've been playing this year. Like Down, he led the charge. Monaghan, he led the charge. Ulster final against Donegal, led the charge. So definitely Kieran Brady as well. He'll need to get on a lot of ball, and he will get on it. Pork Faulkner, he's had a tremendous year. I just hope we play him in the right position. God, I know there's a lot of Dublin forwards to worry about, and Faulkner will probably be named as full back, but I'd nearly play Faulkner maybe wing back, or even, you could be looking at maybe centre half forward. Just push him up as much as possible, because he has been causing threat every time he's gone up the field. Roe McKernan, he's played against some of these Dublin lads before. He knows probably what they're like. He will need to be on his A game, because Grode, okay, as good a season this has been, Grode has been known for shining away in the big games. He will need to be a top dollar this Saturday if we've any chance. Conor Madden, I think I would start him. I think this crack of bringing him on and off, I would start Conor Madden for the game that's in it. Throw the kitchen sink at it. And Marty Riley, he's been there since 2007. And he, God, for him to get an Ulster title as well, so well deserved. So Marty Riley, he'll need to get on ball, a ping of a left foot. So we have the talent, Darren. We just need to produce it.
And I suppose obviously there was a lot of talk kind of leading up to this game about, the game being played in Croke Park and then not in Croke Park. And then some people were saying Navan and whatnot. But what do you reckon yourself? Do you think, as a Cavan man yourself, are you a bit disappointed that maybe it is in Croke Park? Maybe if you got the dubs, maybe in, I don't know, some neutral venue somewhere, you might have a better opportunity. But what do you reckon yourself?
Yeah, I know. Okay, fair enough. When we all won the Ulster title, I know Mickey Graham and some of the players are saying move Dublin out of Croke Park, but the big argument or the big thing has to be players would be chomping at the bit to play the dubs in an All Ireland semi-final. Croke Park, no fans there, so I think it's an absolutely ideal chance to actually play the dubs. Croke Park is the stuff of dreams. People grow up to be playing that stadium. It's an amazing stadium. It's amazing. When you're playing at Croke Park, that's when you're doing well. You're in the business end of a competition, and it's an ideal surface to be playing on. Cavan has be chomping the bit to play. I know there was a strong argument to maybe play in Navan. Okay, would I have been against that? Probably not. Bring Dublin down to a nice tight pitch. Cavan have had great success rate in Navan, so it would have been an interesting proposition. But again, we have to respect the competition. It is an All Ireland semi-final. Croke Park the GAA probably don't tend to change their mind about various things. It's very hard to get through to them at times. So I don't think it was ever going to be changed. I think we were clutching the straws up here more than anything. Mickey Graham was clutching the straws, I think, to be fair to him. But no, I think the Cavan lads be absolutely thrilled to be playing at Croke Park around Christmas time. All Ireland semi-final against the best team ever. They'll have some of that.
Yeah, because I was even saying yesterday in a different video, I think there's only been one in the past 37 semi-finals that hasn't been in Croke Park in Gaelic football anyway, and I think that was the Kerry and Mayo game in 2014. So, and I think as well, if Cavan were to beat Dublin in Croke Park, let's say, or put in a brave display, I think they'd have more credit to themselves with the fact that they done it in Croke Park, they didn't do it somewhere else. And I think as well, in the mid 2000s. There wasn't really too much discussion about the dubs in Croke Park back then because they weren't really that good. Tyrone were turning them over, Kerry were turning them over. So I think it's only really been in the past couple of years. And to be honest, it's probably a different conversation with Dublin, with funding and whatnot. But in your opinion, what do you reckon in terms of this Dublin team? What kind of players do you think could cause damage to this Cavan side? I mean, you're probably looking at the entire team, but is there anyone in particular maybe that you look at and think, if we keep him quiet, we'll be all right?
Unfortunately, Aaron, you've probably answered the question for me. This is an absolutely incredible Dublin team. I've watched them closely for the last, like everyone has, for the last 9-8 years when they're going so good. It just boils it down again. Conor O'Callaghan, Brian Fenton, Paul Mannion, Cormac Oslo, it is frightening. It is absolutely frightening. And I just think it is so important that the Cavan lads don't get too drawn into that because, okay, yeah, they probably are the best footballers to play the game at the minute, but the Cavan lads will just have to go up and just pretend it's like any other game and just give these lads a rattle. And look, we're all only human at the end of the day. I know some of these Dublin lads, they kind of look like robots at times, but look, it is such a strong team, and I just hope the Cavan lads don't get kind of overawed by the occasion and can actually go up and perform and do what they've been doing all championship, which would be absolutely fantastic. But going back to your question, if we could try, Fenton is a complete footballer, so I think we have to limit him getting on the ball at all costs. Tomas Galligan will have a massive task on his hands there, and I suppose Kieran Kilkenny's a fantastic link man. He gets up and down the pitch, he scores. So look, I know in fairness for the Donegal game we were talking about all the players they have and the ones we control, but I think these Dublin lads, they are on a different level playing field to a lot of players around the country. So, God, look, it is a massive ask, but I think if we can just try and curtail Brian Fenton as much as humanly possible, and even maybe Kieran Kilkenny, prevent him for getting on the ball as much as possible too. I think we could be in with a chance, push up on Cluxton's kickouts. And who knows? But look, yeah,
A
it's
lot to
probably
do, I suppose.
it is very, very big when you do weigh it up,
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose like even if you were like to lose this game even by, I don't know, 5 to 10 points or even more, like would it even really matter that much considering the year that it's been? It's almost like a free hit in many ways. I mean, I suppose on one hand side you're looking at it and thinking you don't get to too many All-Ireland semi-finals, but I suppose you have won the Ulster title, and imagine like that's just one hell of an achievement in itself already.
Yeah, I keep saying that though, we are a football mad county, and our mindset at times can be, God, if Dublin beat us in the semi final, oh sure, Cavan or this, Cavan or that. That is honestly sort of the way Cavan fans go on, like we're no good, and sure, how did we even get there? We do ask a lot of the Cavan teams over the years, and like I know as good as this Dublin team can be, if they steamroll us by 7 or 8 points, oh yeah, sure, Cavan or this and that. Lads, this is the best team we have seen play Gaelic football without a shadow of a doubt for the last 9 or 10 years, give or take. So it's kind of like to win the Ulster final was absolutely huge, and I think it's got a massive monkey off our back. So it's bonus territory. We're going up with nothing to lose. Give it a rattle and just see how we get on. But it's a massive task, but it's a very exciting task and something the players should really look forward
to. And I suppose if you were to give a prediction then on the game, how do you see it panning out?
The $1 million question. Yeah. Okay, look, it's like anything else. The brain says Dublin, but the heart will obviously say Cavan. Look, I would. Gosh, there was no other man in this county that love a Cavan win more than me. But you have to weigh things up. I think when you're looking at Brian Fenton chipping away points, and Kieran Kilkenny running up down the pitch, making yards you've never even seen before, and the scoring forwards Dublin have, they probably will have too much for us, I think. And you're probably looking at Dublin by 5 or 6 points, but Cavan to give it a really good rattle and definitely not let themselves down, because I think for the year they've had, they'd only be letting themselves down if they were just to go up without fighting.
Yeah, I suppose even myself as a Dublin fan, like obviously, I'll be 100% cheering for Dublin and I want us to win. But I was only saying the other day, like I definitely do hope it is fairly competitive anyway. I don't want it to be a steamroll or anything like that, because I think it'll be good for Gaelic football in general to have a relatively close game. Maybe 5 or 6 points, maybe not too close where I'm kind of hanging off the couch a bit, but yeah, anyway, cheers John for coming on. I appreciate your time, and I'll link down Backdoor GAA and everything else down below. So yeah, cheers for coming on.
No problem at all, Aaron. Thanks very much.